Well, I'm not going to lie. I am so fucking annoyed, and honestly, I feel disrespected for taking the time to watch this series in its entirety, the Like a Dragon Yakuza series, right? I feel disrespected, and I feel like I just wasted my fucking time. Not only do I think this series is ass, just terrible, it's just a full-on insulting to the story of the games. And to be fair, Yakuza games, like their stories can either hit or miss, and it can be a variety of convoluted stories or whatever, right? But overall, the stories in the beginning of the series were actually interesting, right? Zero, even though it came out relatively later on in the series lifespan, I guess, it was still cool, right? The story for one and two, pretty fucking baller, especially when remastered into Kiwami. Awesome, amazing shit, right? God damn it. The fucking Yakuza live action show basically goes its own fucking direction. Halo TV show style, right? Oh my fucking god, right? Yeah, it goes its own direction, and it's a crime drama, yeah, but without what makes Yakuza, right? No goofy wackiness, no crazy ass fights. They somehow made a bland series about the fucking Yakuza, right? And it just annoys the fuck out of me just thinking about my wasted time and thinking about the actual story of the series, and we're gonna get into it. So buckle up, we're gonna get into this dog shit. Look, they changed so much from the story while also incorporating a Yakuza Zero sort of backstory where we jump from the events of 1995 and fucking 2005, right? To add context and info about these characters we as fans have known for a long time, but for the uninitiated of the Yakuza franchise, it might help. But at the same time, it's doing a fucking disservice because it doesn't really explain a lot of these characters. Imagine they watch this series and they go to play Kiwami 1 and like they're like confused as fuck, right? Because fucking Nishiki's sister is barely even a character. Fucking Yumi's fucking barely a character herself. It's hurts my fucking brain, right? It's so fucking dumb. They're gonna be so confused when playing the game, especially Kiwami 1 and 2, and especially fucking Zero, because they're gonna look at around like, what the fuck? This is entirely different from what the show went ahead and depicted. Like, what's going on here? They even made Kazuma not part of the Yakuza, like he was, but now he's not anymore. Like, even back in 1995, like, he quit to go ahead and run the fucking orphanage. Like, motherfucker, how? Kiryu, and then, like, they made it where Kiryu wants to be the Dragon of Dojima. He wasn't named the Dragon of Dojima because of the badass tattoo and how badass he was and how unrelenting and crazy he was when it came to fighting. He aspires to be it here, and it just completely just removes just how badass he is because he got this moniker, the Dragon of Dojima, because he's literally a fucking badass that beats everybody's ass. So I don't know why they chose to do this. They never even touched on Nishiki's tattoo, being the fish fighting upstream to reach the dragon gates to become a dragon. His sister's death was changed to where Kiryu's fights would earn money for a transplant that never fucking existed. Because yes, they made it to where the leader of the Dojima family basically just made this whole thing up to where, oh yeah, he introduced this guy to potentially get her a transplant, but it never was an actual thing at all. He was just using this as a sort of manipulation tactic to fucking get Kiryu to lose in this whole gauntlet of matches to become the Dragon of Dojima, which is fucking stupid. They even changed it to where Haruka isn't Yumi's daughter, it's her older sister's daughter, I guess. Nishiki kills the Dojima boss after finding out his lie about, his sister's like fake transplant that he discovers. They even added this weird plot line where Nishiki pretends to be a quote unquote demon guy, killing and robbing both the Tojo and Omi families for reasons, I guess, to get more powerful, I suppose, which is a kind of a thing in the game. but he just wanted to prove to everybody that he can, be that fucking guy, right? And he was that guy, right? Because even in the fucking games, he was throwing fucking hands at the end of the fucking Kiwami. He was beating my ass, so I had to lock in. But here it's just the end. We'll get to the end fight. That shit's so fucking underwhelming. But they even removed the relationship Kiryu had with Haruka because she isn't even Yumi's fucking daughter. So what's the fucking point? He doesn't even give a fuck about her like that. He only cares because Yumi cares. Sort of, right? They made Kiryu semi-accurate as an adult, but just made him way different as a young man, as a young lad. He wasn't stoic. Like, they just had him just be like a kid most of the time with Nishiki and the others. And also their blatant disrespect to Kazuma. Ah, hell nah. The story of Zero is how he grew, how he grew his reputation as the dragon and fighting against his superiors who think he killed a guy who owned an empty lot I can't speak. That is important to the events of Yakuza 1 because it's part of the property to build this whole super tower and all this other shit, right? Yeah. Along with, Goro Majima's story that links with Kiryu's, makes for an interesting story in Yakuza 0 because of the whole craziness that happens in that game. They sort of had it in the show, but it's just a smaller portion of what's happening in the show. Like it just doesn't hit the same, right? It's a very small portion of the show about this lot that this American is talking with the Yakuza whatever, right? He's talking with the Dojima clan leader to potentially get this property, but I guess he's playing hard to get it, being a dick about it, and Kazuma's trying to stop this whole thing for reasons, I guess. And then the American dude gets killed. Then they have to find his sister who has the seal to approve the documents to buy the fucking property, and it's just who the fuck cares? who the fuck cares if this is not part of like what's going on in Yakuza 0 story? Because that a bunch of they just took portions of 0 to put it in this dog shit story. So it just pisses me off. That along with Goro Majima's story, that like being completely cut off, like we barely get any Majima stuff, and it's fucking crazy. And you know what else is fucking crazy? The amount of gun violence in this fucking show. It's fucking Japan, right? Like there are so many guns showing up in this series. It's fucking crazy, right? They even dropped a storyline where the CEO dude that Yumi married when she had amnesia is trying to get the 10 billion to bribe the Tojo, but switch to the Omi instead. Like it's just so disappointing. It's just, oh my god, man, it's annoying. It's so stupid. Even the fighting was honestly boring most of the time. No wacky special moves, no crazy executions. For a series adapting a game with a lot of fighting and brawling, it lacks a fuck ton of it. This show is beyond disappointing. Yumi doesn't die, her ain't shit sister does, and like honestly, who the fuck cares? The romance between Yumi and Kiryu was never explored for real at all. Nishiki freaked out when she rejected him when they were younger and went all sad boy and, helped like push him to kill the Dojima leader or whatever. But who the fuck cares, right? Like there's no investment at all in any of this. It's all so generic and confusing. Like why the fuck they decided to fuse two different eras where like, they have their own games and stories, but they wanted to add context to know these characters and so on. They didn't need to do any of that. They completely made everything so much less interesting and badass, and it's just a fucking shame. My absolute favorite moment was Nishiki and Kiryu's fight in the tower, with how manly their fight was, because Nishiki was going full villain, trying to overcome the dragon and achieve his ambitions no matter what. And shirtless while fighting like a maniac, which is fucking neat. It's fucking great. It's manly, it's very over the top. It was cool, right? Kiryu is trying to knock some sense into his friend and trying to stop him as a dragon of Dojima and trying to, and he is essentially this big old hill and this dragon that Nishiki is trying to overcome. Of course, that never fucking happens, right? But in the show, it's Nishiki basically stabs him or like slices him a couple times with a knife, and like I guess Kiryu does a couple counters, and it hits him in the head, I think, with a headbutt, and they both go down, and it's just dumb. And then he carries out Nishiki, and I'm pretty sure he's alive. I'm pretty sure he's alive. I was so checked out by like I guess like episode 1 or 2. Like ever since the beginning, I stopped giving a fuck. The father-daughter relationship is gone between Kiryu and Haruka. Doesn't exist at all, like I said before. Kiryu doesn't feel legendary or badass here. He just glides by with no issues in the narrative. He just shows up and he's just there, right? Which is sometimes like that in the games. However, like he has presence, like there's purpose to what he's doing there. And like, there's always fighting, there's always, things going on, right? But here he's just there most of the time, and he's just, yeah, like there's no twists, there's no turns of the story. It's all so basic and uninteresting and just in your face about everything. The charm of the Yakuza games isn't here, and it's a show. Yeah, it's just a crime, like drama show that's based in Japan. Yeah, that's literally it. Like it's fucked that we got a boring ass Yakuza series because they had so many chances to make this series funny using the side activities or stranger missions to build on Kiryu's character. They didn't need all this Yakuza 0, them being younger shit. They didn't really need to do that. If they wanted to build his character, especially in funny and interesting, action sort of fucking ways or whatever, they could have just done these like weird stranger mission type things to develop his character, to let us know how he is as a person, right? If the combat was fun to look at as it was in the games, or even half as fun to look at, it would have been better than what we got. It would have been like technically sort of fine. You would have still had complaints, but it at least would have been interesting, right? I really don't know why they didn't just have the entire show focused on the present, with Kiryu trying to find the 10 billion as well as Yumi, right? Since Yumi was a lead to the money as well as the Tojo and Nishiki trying to find her, it would gradually cause them to bump heads because of fucking course. Honestly, like things could have been much simpler if they had just kept with the regular story while ironing out some fucking details. Like, how fucking hard is it to adapt a series decently, for fuck's sake? Like, look at Arcane. It's doing wonders with its IP, wonders with its characters and story, right? It's really good. Look at Fallout. It's doing wonders right now, right? It's great. They're both great. And this right here is a travesty. It belongs in the bin along with Halo. It's fucking, it's just insulting, honestly. This shit just pisses me off to no end, and they made Kiryu less than a legend that he should have been. This series, for me, especially as a fan of the series, is a fucking failure. 3 out of 10, with its only saving grace being the set pieces for Kamurocho and how it looks. It's crazy accurate most of the time when seeing it, and it's fucking cool, right? That would maybe kind of like get interested in the show when I was watching it, because I saw how Kamurocho was, and like especially in the beginning of the show. And because you saw like the outside of like the main Kamurocho area, like the borders of it from the video games, and it looked fucking accurate as fuck. It was cool as shit. But as you start going ahead and watching the series, like you notice like a lot of the set pieces and a lot of like what's going on, it's very small, right? Like they don't really explore Kamurocho to its best, which I think is a shame. Even the Yakuza like mansion, I guess, didn't feel as grand as it should have been. We never really see much of it, right? Because in the games, it's just such a big ass mansion. It's so showy. Like it was incredible to see in the game because it's a big fucking mansion, but in the show, it's just it feels just like just a house. It feels like a decently sized, nice house, and not like a big old fucking mansion expressing like, yeah, there's an organization living here. Fuck off. Like, you don't, like, there's an army living here, dude. Like, don't approach, right? Yeah, like that, along with how they at least tried to connect the criminal underworld together into this lukewarm plot they made. Like, no matter what, it's still ass, but it doesn't compare with the original story. So it doesn't really get that many points in terms of story, but at least they fucking tried, right? As its own thing, it's like a 4 or 5 because it's definitely structured enough to be a coherent series. I can't fucking speak. It's the middle of the night for me. It's 1:28 a.m. for me. I am not sleeping tonight. I am fucked. I am going to regret this at work. But yes, but is this a Yakuza series? No. Like, do I think it's interesting enough and good enough to be a decent series in of itself? eh, like, the actors, I feel, did their job and did it well, I guess, with what they got. Probably my favorite is Nishiki for when he is grown and how he is younger. It felt like how he should be, uh, you know, game wise and in TV series wise. It's accurate enough. But the whole demon shit, not gonna lie, kind of cringe. Kind of cringe. Yeah, but that's my thoughts on Like a Dragon Yakuza. It's bad. Like, it's not good. Maybe it'll get people into the series. I don't know. Tell me your thoughts, what you think of the show, if you watched it, because I feel like no one has said shit about this show, and and I understand why. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically. Thank you for listening to the review, and see you guys later. Peace.